Hi, it's Joy, and today we're watching Superman and Lois, Season 4, Episode 4, A Perfectly Good Wedding. I'm very excited for this episode. I'm very excited to see Clark back, and maybe things slowly start to get better, but it is not even the midway point of the season yet, so probably not. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon, and let's go. It does feel very strange, the idea that General Lane isn't going to be around anymore. I can't even imagine what it feels like for Lois. His family have been through enough. So he hasn't lost his powers. I need to see the boys sing their dad, please. I needed this hug. My soul needed that hug. See, things can start to get better. They're not going to be better. Things are going to be worse in a lot of ways, no doubt. But better than Clark being dead and then Sam dying.
I died.
Oof, yep.
In an instant, everything went dark.
Fuck.
Easy, old guy. Check this out.
How quickly everything can change.
Someone pointed out very rightfully that probably a decent chunk of why, in my comments, Jonathan didn't get his powers was because his heart is always so steady and regulated, like they discussed. And in that scene, he was finally just letting all of his emotions out. Like, just everything he was feeling just pouring out. And so he lost his control, and that kind of caused it to happen.
And that scar on your chest still hasn't healed.
Okay, but other than that, I'm fine.
We
Mannheim
don't
serum
know.
was made from my blood as a whole.
My dad was a 60-year-old man, and now you have his heart.
We
We don't know
need to
your
figure
limitations
out.
yet.
Luther.
Well, that's because you've been keeping me from her.
She's just
They are moving
very
very fast.
intimidating.
Admittedly, she's pregnant, but
Hey, once
I'm
you master
glad
this, we can move
Jordan's
up to
getting to experience. Oh my god, Jonathan's getting to
Kessel,
experience
man.
this as well. It's a very different experience training because they're very different kids, and that's okay. My worry with Jonathan here is he's gonna get too cocky too quick.
Pull up.
Okay. I'm really happy that Jonathan is getting to experience this and to experience this time with his dad, because there definitely were moments where, because of everything that they were going through, like, I'm not putting any blame on anyone here, but Clark, understandably, had to put more focus on Jordan because of the powers and everything, and so now they're getting this moment. But then I feel sorry for Jordan, who's stuck at home, and then Jordan has experienced this before to a degree, and I just would be really nice if Jordan was able to, like, I would really like it if either this episode or at some point in this season, Jordan can go with them and they can all fly together, because there is a lot going on in Jordan's head right now. I think he's dealing with, if I had done better, then Lex wouldn't have destroyed Dad's heart and then Granddad would still be alive. I think he's dealing with, oh, John has powers now and he's perfect and he's back to being the golden boy and I'm back to being the fuck up. Like, I think there's a lot going on in his head that... And of course, the fact that his mum picked his brother instead of him, and so that reinforces that I'm the fuck up, he's the perfect kid, which none of that is true. And every single bit of that, you just want to sit down with him and slowly but surely unravel and unpack and help him see that that is not the case, that he's done nothing wrong and that he's perfect just the way he is, because both of the boys are perfect just the way they are, because they're both brilliant kids. But, like, I just want to give him a hug and tell him it's going to be okay. Okay, I think I kind of lost whatever my original point was, but I'm worried about Jordan. I mean, it might be a bonus for us. Not that I want either of the boys going into danger anytime soon, especially not danger against Lex Luthor, but the fact that Lex Luthor thinks Jonathan is powerless could help. Because if he ever does decide, oh, I'm going to hurt Lois by going after her boys, if he picks Jonathan to go after this time, he won't bring kryptonite, he'll just bring goons, and Jonathan can just be like, I don't know. You're overtaxing your heart, you're overtaxing your heart, you're overtaxing your heart. So my worry was he was going to be powerless with a human heart somehow, but he's just less able than he was before. I think he's okay. He's just going to have to get used to some limitations that he didn't have before. Or train his body up again, I don't know.
But it's your wedding. You can't postpone.
You're getting
Plus,
married at the
your mom's
Kent
coming
farm.
to town. See, the barn is perfect. It's just after everything.
I mean, the barn is perfect, but it is also the location in which your future husband's previous marriage essentially ended because the affair came to light and Sarah knew about it, and then Lana was like, there's something off with Sarah, and everything came tumbling out in the barn. So I maybe don't think the barn, probably even the Kent barn, but the barn is the best place. We can maybe do a pretty outdoor thing, not by the tree with Lane under it, but like on a field someplace. Like just make a nice little thing on a field someplace. The barn might have some bad memories and not be a good omen for the wedding.
Your family's been through.
Would you please be my maid of honor?
Yes, of course.
I mean, Chrissy deserves, if she wants
Oh,
one,
I'm so
a
excited.
more wedding-y wedding, but is Chrissy excited?
Run some more tests.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Do not get your son to lie to his mum.
Tiny. Spill.
You crashed?
Yeah, out of the sky doing like Mach 5.
Okay, you know what, rookie? Settle down. It was
He's
barely Mach 2.
scared.
I
Doesn't
heard
want to
your heart
acknowledge
skip
that
a
it
couple
happened.
beats.
Clark.
My body is still just getting used to your dad's heart. My mom
why
said there'd be an adjustment period.
Belly
We
flopping
have
into a
to
glacier seems like more
slowly
than an
but
adjustment
surely
period.
build
Please, I barely
up.
even felt it. I'm not going anywhere. This was just a fluke.
Okay, first of all, your family literally saw you dead with your heart ripped out, so they're going to be fucking terrified every time you look remotely discomforted. But also, this is something you need to take seriously, but he's terrified to take it seriously. And I kind of want to sit him down and say, think about when Lois was sick and when she didn't want to admit that there was something wrong with her body right now. And I mean, she did admit it, but like, she wanted to be able to keep working even though her body wasn't cooperating. That's where you are right now, and maybe you're going to be able to get better. Maybe it's going to be like getting a chronic illness, which, ailment, take it from me, it sucks. So like, I know he doesn't want to admit that he can't do what he could do before, but he can't right now when he needs to.
Yeah, you know, Sarah and I have actually gotten pretty close.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that would make sense. You're practically the same age.
I mean, I don't think the age gap's quite that bad, is it? But it's not
Um,
ideal.
You know, I'm real sorry
I mean, okay, in this situation, if I was her mum, I wouldn't be thrilled. Like, hearing about it on paper, I'd be like, wait, you've been dating him for like a few months, and you're pregnant, and you're suddenly getting married. Like, we don't live in the days where, oh my god, I'm pregnant, we need to get married immediately in order to make this baby legitimate. Like, that is not a thing we do anymore. This is moving very quick. He is older than her. He is recently divorced, and a divorce where he was the adulterer. Like, there are a lot of things here where I would be like, but I would at some point potentially express that to my daughter if I was really concerned. And then otherwise, you just make sure she knows you are there if she needs you, and you are supportive of her if this is what makes her happy. But like, if anything, I would be taking her aside and I would be saying like, this is really what you want. Like, I love you, and if it's what you want, I'm the happiest mom on the planet. But like, you're not just feeling like you don't have a choice because of the baby. Like, you can say you don't want this if you don't want this, if this is too fast. Like, that sort of thing. Not this like judgmental stuff, because this is your daughter's life, and she's making this choice, and all you're going to do is alienate her.
You keep blaming yourself for what happened to him, even though he's been back for weeks.
Man, you don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
He knows you.
And stop listening to this stupid message.
Mm-hmm.
You can't trust your own body.
Mm-hmm.
Is this who I am now? I mean, am I just never gonna be what I was?
Maybe.
Maybe.
You're still you and wonderful.
That really
It's
sucks.
Yep. Like, this
Clark,
is
every time
so
I walk past a mirror,
interesting.
it's still jarring.
Because obviously there are so many comparisons to what Lois has been through, and has been through, and I think they'll be able to really help each other, and he'll understand in a whole way he didn't before, even though he was trying to before. But there are some things you just can't understand until you've lived them. But I also really see parallels in what Clark is going through with chronic illnesses or disabilities that you don't have and then you get, that like realizing that like, oh, I can't do what I used to do before. Like, not gonna get emotional, soppy, but like I'm very lucky that my chronic illness is mild and I can manage most of the time, but I cannot do things I used to do. Like, there are times when I have to not, like, I can't always do things I want to do because of my illness, or like even just my memory isn't as good. Like, when you see me being like, oh my god, what is that main character's name? I used to be the person that my friends would be like, okay, when I was a kid and before I knew J.K. Rowling was transphobic, like, they'd be like, oh, Joy, what was the title of the chapter in the Harry Potter book where this thing happened? And I would know it. Like, I know everything. I knew every single episode name of Merlin. I knew every character name. Like, I was that person who, like, I love my shows and I know everything about them. And now I'm like, that woman who works in the paper with Lois, what's her name? And there are times when I genuinely can't remember. So that's like a basically insignificant, but it is irritating. And then there are other things. I am incredibly fortunate that my chronic illness is relatively minor. But it is hard when you realize through no real fault of your own, your body has just been like, actually, we don't work like we used to before. And so I can't even, like, I can imagine a little bit of what Clark is going through, but it definitely, I feel like a lot of this is resonating with me and with the research I've done into chronic illnesses in general with Clark.
Sorry. Did you just say that really sucks?
I think I'm feeling the wine.
It's a first.
Yep. Oh, in a way.
There's not a day that goes by that I don't wish I could thank your dad.
Oh, I know. I'm kind of just in denial. Like I said before, there were moments where I really didn't like Sam Lane, but I never wanted him to die. So I'm just like, no, but he's just fishing someplace. He's fine. Denial is fun. In a way, Clark might be more similar to the boys, like hybridy, like both human and Kryptonian, because it's a human heart beating, ba-bum, 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 same as in the boys' chests. So I wonder whether like he's not going to be like completely powerless, but like it's kind of a mixture of the two.
You being here with us is all the thanks he wanted.
Blow your role in the whole Mrs. Cushing thing.
Chrissy, I'm upstairs.
Thanks.
Does Chrissy not want to get married, or is she just overwhelmed? Because both are valid.
I can't pinpoint voices. You have to do it.
She's in Metropolis at the parking structure over by the hyper sector.
Okay. You stay here and do nothing.
I
Was your
know
mom
you're
stressed?
scared, sweetie, but you
Yeah.
need to do it.
She was only
You
19.
need to trust yourself again. Bit by bit, but you don't have to jump into it, but you do need to trust yourself.
I can't even imagine.
Why are you marrying my daughter?
Excuse me?
Because Chrissy told me that you proposed right after learning that she was pregnant.
Yes.
So
It's
are
not
you doing this
the
only for
best.
the baby? But this is happening way too fast.
I do agree it's happening too fast,
Appreciate
but
your concern, Mrs. Beppo.
these things can happen fast if hearts
I
are in the
love your
right
daughter.
place.
You still seem really miserable.
It's complicated.
Talk
Do you
to
want to
her. You're not
uncomplicate it?
dating, but you're close, and you can still do this.
I
Talking
tried to
each
save
other.
him. And now I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Keep practicing and working on
Okay.
it if that's what you want to
Forget what you're supposed to do. What do you want to do?
do. Like, no, you do not have to be a superhero. If you don't want to do any more superhero-y stuff, you don't have to. And doing superhero stuff is not the only way to be someone worthy of attention and praise. You're just as perfect if you don't do superhero stuff. But if you do want to do superhero stuff, neither you nor Jonathan should be on the front lines right now. You need training and to grow up and to be kids for a bit longer.
Jordan's getting better at flying without messing up your hair.
It wasn't Jordan who took me.
You didn't want to go flying with John and me either.
It's that damn phone call. I've tried talking to him about it, and every time he blows me off.
That'd be great. That's a lot of greats. Is it? I've been saying great a lot, like I'm great, you're great, we're all great. Great's a great word. Everything's fine.
Nothing is fine.
Where's your purse? Are you okay?
Yes, if you don't want to get
Ooh,
married, you
yeah.
do not have to. But it's also okay if you do want to get married, you're just overwhelmed by how quick it is. Both are
A
valid.
little nauseous.
Okay, I'm glad they're talking today. I was wondering if for the wedding I would have to wait. Scream at her if you need to, if it
Just-
helps.
Kinda wish
Let
you
it
chose
out.
me.
John didn't have powers yet. He couldn't protect himself like you could.
I know. But everything's just always been so easy between you two. Ever since Metropolis.
Not true.
Dad died because of me.
That is not
Grandpa
true.
died because of me.
I know this is all how he
Jordan,
feels,
look at me.
but it doesn't make it true,
This was
sweetheart.
all Luther. Your
Mhm.
father.
I'm not mad that you chose John. I'm mad that you were right.
Oh, baby.
I keep letting you down.
No.
Sweetie, I love you so much. And it kills me that I ever made you feel like I didn't.
Mhm.
And I want to do everything to make this right, but you have to let me.
Exactly,
Please.
sweetheart. You don't keep letting her down.
Okay.
She loves you more every second of every day. Because she loves the person you become every
love you,
second
Mom.
of every day. I'm so thankful they got to have that
Love you too.
conversation because it is awful. But it was just a situation where, like, she had to pick because the kind of man Lex is, there was a chance he had both of them in dangerous situations, and if she didn't pick, they would both die. like and then she picked the one, like, if you have the right, like, when I think I mean, ever since I've been saying it's the rational choice, the powerless one, but like now it's a completely impossible choice all over again, because like, well, they both have powers, but like, even in that case I feel like I would just blindly press like one or two, boom, you know, because you love them both. But if you have to pick, because if you don't pick, you lose both. So like, it was a nightmare. And I just, John, why today am I calling the boys by the wrong name? Like, I think I potentially did that when the show started because brain fog. They both begin with J. But like, why am I today? I called Jonathan Jordan earlier, and now I'm going to call Jordan Jonathan. When Jordan said, "I don't blame you for choosing, you were right. I keep letting you down," a little more piece of my heart shattered, because no kid should feel like that. And I don't think Lois or Clark have done anything particularly wrong to make him for that, other than the phone call. It's just beating himself up so completely, and in a way, John getting his powers now is such terrible timing, because him getting these powers and being really good at them so quickly is kind of just like reinforcing to Jordan that he is lesser, and he isn't lesser. He just struggled with his powers more, and that could be for 1,000 reasons. Age, he was a year, 2 years younger. Yeah, they're 16 now. He was like 2 years younger when he got his powers. 2 years is a huge amount of time, especially when you're a teenager. Life experiences they've had, just their temperaments. There are things Jordan is better at than Jonathan, and it's okay. And I just want to give him a hug, and I'm really glad Lois got to give him a hug, and I hope that they're going to start working through it now.
Dad!
Is Chrissy gone?
Chrissy's not in the house. She's gone.
I mean, sweetie, you could have said a little quieter. She's a wee bit overwhelmed.
I really wanted a family again. I miss that feeling.
Did you want to marry Chrissy? Did you love Chrissy? Or did you just want a family again? Because those aren't the same.
I think if you're patient, everything's gonna be fine.
Exactly. Because this was very fast. So
Super best man ever.
I think
Thanks, bud.
they could still work out at a slower pace with a baby along the way. That's fine.
Just grab a hoodie. Go. You've got this, okay?
Go with him. You should go with him.
I started to realize I barely even know Kyle.
Yes.
Do you know, before I went full runaway bride,
Tell Kyle what you just told me. After
I
that, I think
agree.
you know what to do.
So is something going to go wrong here, and Jordan's going to need to come and help, because he's not experienced at doing this. Oh, that's Luther's woman. It's not his woman, but you know what I mean.
You.
He's trying to kill me.
Oh my god. Yeah, so you see how sending one person alone who's not properly trained was a bad idea. Boys! Blame them both for this.
It's John. He's in Metropolis.
Hurry.
Superman's back, whether he's ready or not.
Not gonna lie, kid. This is gonna hurt. You're
Yeah.
supposed to be dead.
Thank God Clark is still strong enough to stand up to this, because otherwise, fucking hell. Because he is still Kryptonian, fully. This might help his confidence.
Not bad for a dead guy.
Just kiss it.
yeah? More kissing.
Actually, I feel like more talking and getting to know each other might be the key here, Chrissy. But okay.
John Henry's taking Luther's guy into the DOD for me.
So, you
So
wouldn't
no
be
one
seen?
else saw.
Maybe tomorrow you can go in and see if you...
You sure? I think I want to take some time and figure some stuff out, and
Okay.
someone needs to fill in for me.
This seems healthier. He's not running or hiding or being kind of sullen about it. He's just, I need to think something out. Maybe I don't want to be a superhero. Maybe I do. And that is okay, because it's kind of the second he got the powers, he was like, yes, I want to do everything. And he doesn't have to. So okay, this is good.
These were grandpa's.
I know.
You raised very good boys.
He'd want you to have them.
Thank you.
We're still wildly in love, and we will definitely continue this at a later date.
Of my bride's choosing, of course.
But
Okay, Mum
since you're
seems
all here
happier.
and everyone looks so fancy,
Just get our party on, huh?
I think everyone here could do with a party.
sorry you came all this way for nothing.
It's
She
not
saw
nothing.
her baby girl stand up for
I got
herself
to see what a strong woman my daughter
and
is.
build a wonderful life. Good for them. Oh no.
Don't answer that.
Not a chance.
With the lives you lead, you gotta. Yeah. I was worried it was gonna break. Enough people saw them. The woman probably saw them before she ran off. Okay, this episode was good. This episode was a healing episode. Like, there were various points where I was sort of thinking, like, the plot hasn't necessarily been super advanced by this episode, but I think it was just so necessary for these characters to breathe for a moment, to get to just live. Especially for our beloved Kents. You know, we had Clark back, alive, them getting a hug. Thank you. I'm going to watch that scene like 50,000 times. And kind of coming to terms with the reality of Sam's sacrifice, but that Sam believed in Clark so strongly, and thinking about like where they started and now he's here and he like gave his life, and then Clark is back and he is with the family and he's still protecting the family and he's still giving hugs to the family and everything is good. And so from kind of, if I go through character by character, Jonathan got to have his dad back and to sort of again keep trying to make things better for Jordan, to get through to Jordan. They're still a little bit at buffers with each other, but I think that is coming to an end again because they're brothers. That's a kind of, their relationship has always been like boom, 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 but with so much love the whole way through. It's one of my favorite parts of this show, is the way they've just captured a loving family so perfectly, because it isn't perfect, but it is loving. And he got to have a great time with his dad until it became a very traumatic time with his dad like collapsing. But like, it was just really great to see him just doing his thing and his dad just having the best time with him, because Clark and Jonathan have had a rocky old time of it, as Clark alluded to in this episode. And I think it was just so lovely to see them together. And I hope it'll be lovely going forwards. Then if we go to the next boy, our lovely beloved Jordan, he was having a rough time of it this episode, understandably. But I think he needed that conversation with Lois, and he needed to fully tell her what he was saying, that he was upset about the phone call, and that he wasn't really upset at her, but he was upset because she was right, which, Jesus Christ, just shatter my heart a little bit, why don't you? Because no, she wasn't. There wasn't a right answer. If she'd picked you, that wouldn't have been right either. There was not a right answer. You were both wonderful boys, and so different, and yet so good. And like, there was a moment when, which I'll talk on a little bit, where Jordan was giving Jonathan the suit and everything, and they were just being so fucking sweet, and like Clark and Lois just kind of like just eased into each other and just watching, and I felt like I was also a proud parent watching my boys shine. Like, they're just both so good, and so I think it was really important for him to say what he's been thinking, that they all know what he's been thinking, but to fully say it, that he got his dad killed, he got his granddad killed, his mum was right to pick Jonathan because he keeps letting her down, and none of this is true, but it feels true to him. And I think it was important for him to have Lois saying, no, that was Luther, because it was, and to really just reiterate that she loves him as much as it's possible to love anybody in the world. And just, those feelings aren't poof magically gone. There are still going to be times when he's going to get that self-hatred spiral back, because mental health is not like, oh, someone said that it wasn't true. But I think it will mean the world to him that he can keep remembering that. And like, when his mental health starts to spiral, he can remember what Lois said. He can remember that moment and think, no, my mum sought me out to comfort me and to make sure I wasn't having this mental health spiral. My mum is right. I love her. Like, I think this was the first step to Jordan being able to get over this. And I also really love that the conversation he had with Sarah, where she was like, well, what is it you want? Don't worry about what is expected of you. What do you want? And he definitely got a little in his head last season about being like, oh my god, I'm a superhero and I've got this attention. And I also think going from being the troubled kid to the powered kid, it went to his head a little bit. That kind of, and also the expectation of it. Oh, I'm the next Superman, so I've got to be brilliant. But he doesn't now because his brother is powered and doing well with it, and his brother had been working in like firefighting, and so like going from firefighting, I know he wasn't like a fully trained firefighter, but that was kind of a fairly like from that step to becoming a superhero, like his brother is more kind of naturally suited perhaps to it, though I don't necessarily think there is, like, I think Jordan could also be naturally suited, but it's okay for him to take this time and this moment to figure out, does he want to do it? Did he like the person he was while he was doing it? Does he want to pursue something else? I think there's always an argument to be had that because they have these abilities, if Jordan is on his own somewhere and he hears a problem, he kind of will always feel the urge to go and help, because otherwise, like, if you just let someone, their car crashes off a bridge and you don't help them when you could have helped them, that's not great. But in general, being like the face, the hero, I think it's up to Jordan whether he wants any of that, whether that is the sort of life he wants to live. And he's 16, it's okay for him to not be sure. In the same way that as much as Jonathan is kind of in the rush of it all right now, I've got my powers, I'm brilliant, oh my god, this is the best, and I get to go and I can help people, and he got a little bit of that kind of similarly to what Jordan has had in his time, the sobering thing of, oh, I wasn't quite prepared for this specific situation, oh fuck, I could die. Like, yeah, it didn't go great this episode, but it's also okay if Jonathan comes to a point where he doesn't necessarily want to fulfill the Superman role. I think what would make me happiest of all is if the boys could become a team. And I think I mentioned this in the previous episode. I definitely have mentioned this in my own head. If they could work together and complement each other, and both of them, and Clark, because, you know, Clark's going to be around for a while, don't worry. I mean, yes, we'll get to Clark, but if they all are able to work together, especially when the boys are older and not children, if they can work together and do these things as a team together, backing each other up, and, you know, oh, it's my wife's party tonight, so would you mind taking any calls, things like that. I think they will be able to give each other a much better work-life balance than Clark has had. They will be able to back each other up in stressful situations when they need two people, and I just think it could be a really lovely dynamic. But I also do not think either boy should be forced into it, because as much as there is that argument of with great power comes great responsibility, there is also an argument that each person has choices and has free will and has mental health to look after and shouldn't be forced into anything. So I really hope we get to see the boys shining together. Now, what I think would still be really a clever and effective thing to do would be to potentially let Luther think Jordan is still really angry and upset. And, like, I don't know, I don't want, like, I come up like, and like, also, oh, Luther doesn't know Jonathan has powers, but I'm also like, I don't want the boys involved, they're children. But, you know, I think there are certainly going to be elements and situations where the boys can potentially, he thinks he knows how to use them, but actually the strength of this family is going to surprise everybody. Lois finally was able to kind of get through to Jordan, and it was kind of like Clark said, it was a matter of time and waiting until Jordan was ready to talk about it and in a place where he knew how to talk about it. But she kept going, she was there for him, and he got through to her, and she was there for Clark as well, because, you know, I won't go on super much about it because I did in the middle of the reaction, but Clark is experiencing a change. His body doesn't do what it used to, and that is brutal and difficult, and she understands to a degree, because, I mean, like I say, to a degree, because they kind of are going through parallel situations where, with some overlap, but other things that don't overlap, like, but she can kind of understand where it's going through from the point of view of your body betraying you in a way, your body not doing what it's supposed to do, looking in the mirror and seeing something that doesn't mesh with who you are. But I do believe Clark will be okay. I think in some ways it probably gave him a degree of confidence back, that when his boy was in trouble, he was able to fly there, face the man, fireman, and defeat him. And, like, because initially, when those blasters got turned on him, and I was like, but if he is now the same as Jordan and Jonathan, then they're just gonna hurt him. And it didn't, so that was great. But hopefully that will give him a degree of confidence. But what he needs to do is listen to his body, and when your heart starts to go a little off, stop, slow down. And obviously there will be fights and situations where if he, wait, time out, people, the bad guys are not going to be like, that's fine. But I think he just needs to relearn his body and relearn to trust himself, and I do believe he will be able to do that. And this family just needs to keep holding each other close because I love them so much. Then I don't care so much about the Chrissy Kyle stuff. They're two of my least favorite main characters. Kyle because he's an adulterer and scum of the earth if you're an adulterer. I have tried to be more forgiving and more understanding because I'm trying to be a better person in general, but I also do just think cheating on your family, on your wife, is there is no excuse. But when it comes to him and Chrissy, I have always felt like this was moving way too fast. And I was trying to be okay with it because there are worlds and circumstances where you can move quickly, but those need to be when you're both on the same page about it and you do know each other and you have had the big conversations. And yes, you're moving quickly, but you feel comfortable and safe. But if you're moving quickly and you're not feeling comfortable and safe, you need to pull the brake. And I'm glad Chrissy did that. And I think it meant a lot to her mum to see Kyle being both initially so upset that Chrissy wasn't there, and then secondly, so completely okay with her embarrassing him or whatever. I don't know, like you could look at it that way. Like, and was just like, no, when she's ready, we'll do this again. Like, I still want to marry this woman because I love her, but when she's ready. I do have a slight, like, red flag that Kyle's biggest upset about Chrissy running away from the wedding was that he wanted a family back because he didn't specify Chrissy. And yeah, but it's fine. Chrissy annoyed me last season with the degree of her sudden turning against Lois that seemed to me it was just too much. Like a little degree of being upset with Lois, a decent, like fine, the level she was, I think it was last season, whichever season it was, where she turned against Lois. Oh my god, my brain. Irritated me. Might have been the season before. I'm not entirely sure now. So yeah, that's why they're my two least favourite of the mains. But I like Chrissy more than Kyle. But I was happy to see them ultimately work things out, and I did enjoy the Kyle and Clark friendship scenes. And Sarah is right, that barn is cursed. Cushing's and Cushing adjacent people should not be having any ceremonies there. So yeah, very, very good episode. I think a necessary breather, a necessary moment to just okay, to begin to heal some of the wounds that have been inflicted over the freaking first 3 episodes. How has it only been 3? And to just start moving forward. Now, obviously, like at the beginning when I was saying I hope things will get better in this episode, I was still worried because this is not even the halfway point of the season. This is episode 4 and there are 10 episodes this season. So Lex is still rumbling around out there. He's not given up. So things are still going to get stressful and bad, but I'm hoping the characters are going to be able to breathe and hold each other and trust in each other as they move forward to fight the new fights. On the Lex side of things, he's definitely, old annoying woman whose name I don't remember. She does now know that Lex does want her dead, so her only real option is to turn to Lois and help, right? And talk to Lois and then take whatever protection Lois can give. Unless she believes she herself can hide and get protection by herself that Lex won't be able to find. But I think like I would trust Lois in that situation. Because she's now very much confronted with the truth. Now the danger is if she tries to wheedle her way back into Lex's good graces, she might say things like Superman's alive, though the whole world does appear to now know that, but she can confirm that she saw him. And also she might be able to say, oh, and one of Lois's sons was doing had powers, and Lex will be like, yes, I know, the dark curly haired one, and she'll be like, no, the other one. So like there are dangers there that she might be able to try and like wheedle her good graces by giving information, but I also think with Lex, that's just going to buy you another 20 minutes. So hopefully she will flip on him and we will be able to start bringing these pieces together. But yeah, very, very good episode. A much needed breather from the emotional roller coaster, emotional like sucker punch that every single moment has been up to this point. Very good. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon. And thank you so much for watching.